Hey guys, Bella here, coming to you with another Merch by Amazon video. This is going to be some New Year's research. So I know that New Year's is coming up. We've got about roughly 30 days until we have New Year's. So really, if you think about it, we have to get the designs up and ranking, and the customer has to have time to purchase those for their New Year's event. So let's dive into some New Year's research. I am going to be using Merch Informer for this. In addition to that, I'm going to be using Amazon to just use as the search feature. So let's check out some tools on Merch Informer and see what we can find that is already trending for New Year's Eve. So using the product search feature, I have just typed in New Year's, and we are going to refine this more in the future. But for now, let's go take a look at everything. We are going to ignore Disney, obviously. So the first thing that we see is this funny video game achievement unlocked level 2020 complete. So I would probably go over to Amazon and type in level 2020 New Year's shirt and see what I could come up with. Unfortunately, this is not pulling up anything for the search result. It's just pulling up a bunch of products, which could be a result of the current situation that we're in with Black Friday. So let's try and refine this by saying New Year's video game shirt. Okay, now we're met with more search results, but we can see the shirt that we actually had just found earlier on Merch Informer popping up as selling a bestseller rank of 266,000, which is really good. It looks like it is ranking pretty high in boys novelty shirts. Estimated sales 11 sales per month, and this extension that I'm using here is the Productor Chrome extension, which is free, so you can get this data for free if you just install that into Google Chrome. But anyways, let's ignore that and look up these that were popping up for us. You never want to ignore something just because you're searching for something else, and that is one thing that you have to keep in mind when you are doing Merch by Amazon research. Just make sure that you are taking a look at everything. I find that it's really helpful to have a spreadsheet pulled up so that you can quickly type in ideas in your spreadsheet and then come back to them later. So this shirt is really selling well. It's got 1,832 for a bestseller rank, and it has nothing really to do with what we had first typed in, but it says my perfect day. I'm just going to type in my perfect day gamer shirt and see what I can come up with. So we've got 3,000 results. So one thing that you might consider is to pick out a specific type of games. I mean, there are role-playing games, there are different types of fighting games, there are military games, so you could dig a little deeper and go through it with that. You can kind of see how we started off looking at 2020 shirts, and then we quickly had to go over to gaming shirts. So it just kind of happens like that. Now this is a Star Wars shirt, and I would be very careful with this, but it's a Star Wars parody shirt. If you don't know, that is kind of one of those things that Star Wars flashes across the screen like that in this font choice, but looks like that shirt is doing quite well. New Year's Eve party, it just says Happy New Year. We've got another one that this looks absolutely terrible, but guess what? It's still selling. So Happy New Year 2021, goodbye 2020, hello 2021. So that is a really popular design right now. I don't know if we could really compete in that or not, but we will try to look it up. So this pulls up 2,000 results. So we can tell just by this that it is a really crowded market, but some of them are Christmas. So that is one thing to consider. We have a lot of Christmas designs and not as many New Year's designs. So maybe there's room for it at all. And kind of remember that what you put in your title and tags is how the customer will find the shirt. So if you put New Year's in the same phrase, goodbye 2020, hello 2021, New Year's shirt rather than Christmas, you're going to have a whole different set of buyers. And that's something to remember, is that those, the shirt design is important, but those titles and tag keywords are also really important. This one just says cheers, and it has a glitter font, which is kind of misleading to the customer, honestly, because there is no glitter on Merch by Amazon shirts. They did not put glitter in the title, or it would have gotten flagged and it would not have gone up. I know that a lot of us have made the mistake of describing the shirt in a way that we didn't really think we were describing it, such as if you had put like distressed or something like that. A lot of the bots with Merch by Amazon will flag that and they will not let that go through. This one says, I cannot pronounce that, but it's a Happy Vietnamese Lunar New Year shirt for a kid. So, okay, just prior to doing this research 5 minutes ago, I had no idea that this existed. So you can see that this tool definitely helps us learn about new areas of discovery. So I'm not really familiar with the Vietnamese Lunar New Year, but let's just type in Lunar New Year shirt. Wow, so we have 4,000 results for a Lunar New Year shirt. So obviously there are other people who are aware of this. I'm going to refine the search terms more and type in Vietnamese before. Okay, so here we are. We've got Vietnamese Lunar New Year shirt. So this is where we need to be. 207 results, not very many results. So this is, a marketplace that might be worth entering. You can see that most of the designs are really cute cartoons. They're characters. They've got the big eyes like you would see in anime. We've got an animal here. So that is kind of what you need to be thinking about when designing shirts for these. And you can even type in these phrases to kind of see in Google Translator to what they mean. I actually went on a whole entire day of designing shirts in another language, and I made some sales. So you don't have to have it as your first language in order to sell it. And keep in mind that there are those other platforms on Merch by Amazon that we're able to sell on. So when you are designing, you can always keep that in mind. This design is a Chinese New Year design, so it's the year of the rat, and that is for 2020. And you could also think about what is the Chinese New Year design going to be for 2021. So let's just look at it, because I don't know what it's going to be. I think I'm a dog. I was born in 1994. Okay, so once again, we've got way too many search results. We've got 4,000 results, and you're going to run into this a lot. So you're going to have to keep refining and refining and refining. So 2021 is the year of the ox. So what you want to do with that is you can start looking for things to narrow it down. Personally, I would just type in Chinese New Year 2021 ox shirt and see how many results we have. Now we only have 3,000. One thing that you can do on Merch Informer as well is type in this phrase, year of the ox, and then go from there and see what other things you can find and what keywords you can find, because a lot of these keywords are going to be words that I'm not really familiar with. This one says zodiac, Chinese zodiac, so that's a phrase that you could use. 2021 ox yin. So this is another keyword, and you can just keep going down the rabbit hole with this, but I won't take up too much time because I can tell that this is already very, very flooded. And if you think about it, these New Years come around every couple of years, so there's always a new animal and a new year. So you could even design 2 or 3 years in the future if you really wanted to. I don't know if that's the long game is really worth it in this case because the market is so crowded, but that's just something to be thinking about. 2020 was still better than my first marriage. This is funny. Like, this is legit really funny. So let's find this keyword and type it in and see what we can come up with. Okay, so we've got 368 results for this phrase. So this is getting crowded, but it's not as crowded as we would think it is. We could use 2020 was still better than blank, and you could insert all kinds of different things. So this is a great one that we found. 2020 was still better than, let's see if it auto-populates anything else. Than my first marriage. 2020 is still better than, let's just search this and see what we can come up with. This person's doing it in the Friends style font. You could even just switch it up and put 2020 was still better than my first divorce. 2020 was still better than my first whatever year of college. Who cares? You can add all kinds of different phrases in there. There is a lot of things that can be added to this that besides marriage. So that is one way to go with it. Here's another Happy New Year. Nothing spectacular, just some fireworks. Happy New Year's, and yes, it's my birthday. So this is actually kind of odd, but the rank on this is not great. It's 3 million rank, so it has sold, but it's not really a bestseller or anything. Happy New Beers. Happy New Year 2020. Again, just to kind of explain the logic and looking through all of these, we're looking for new phrases or niches that have to do with New Year's that we were not necessarily aware of before. We can also go over to Merch Hunter. Okay, so New Year's 2021, I typed this in, and so you can search through the top 100 sellers if you want. But I'm gonna scroll through a few of these, but I think I'm gonna refine that even further because the top 100 is kind of misleading when it comes to the title. I'm gonna look up bestseller range between 100,000 and 500,000. So this is when we get more of the targeted New Year's things. This is a football shirt. We've got I leveled up to Big Brother. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Again, we all know those are snack cakes. I think they're little Debbie snack cakes. So I would be. They even put year of the year Debbie in the in the title. So this person's just going full blown anarchist, and they don't even care about the fact that they are risking their account with that. Okay, well let's move on from that. I shouldn't have to explain why that's a really bad idea, but you do you. You know, you live your life, buddy. Buffalo. So Buffalo's been really trending lately. I've sold a couple of Buffalo Bison type shirts lately. So that's a niche I can give away to the people who have been in this video for long enough. And there's a lot of areas that have bison, so you could target those areas with a bison shirt. A lot of touristy places that have bison, so that's a tip for you. Most wonderful time of the year, again, with the Nutcracker dance. I don't know what this sign is. New Mexico State. Okay, so I wasn't aware of this, but now I am. You gotta forgive me sometimes because being born in Alabama, we just aren't taught a lot in school. I know that's kind of funny, but dear Lord, they spent a whole year of my elementary school on Alabama history, and I was like, this is not what really happened. This is totally not what happened. They try to glorify a lot of what we did as a state, which was not great stuff. But anyways, 2020 dumpster fire, that one's going to be pretty big, I think. But the only issue with the 2020 stuff is once 2020 is over, you kind of have to transition to how are those designs going to sell in 2021. Probably not that well, to be honest with you. I'm going to type in 2021 shirt and see what we can come up with that. So the first thing that popped up was this 2020 Karate Kick shirt, and if you watch Cobra Kai, it's a new show on Netflix. That could be really driving a lot of the traffic to the karate stuff right now, but they don't even have karate in the title, and it looks like they don't have it in the description either. So it's just a goodbye kick to the year 2020. So that is kind of interesting. Here is another gaming shirt, Happy New Year, select level, and you have 2021 popping up. So that is a pretty neat shirt design. Happy New Year. So this is a nurse shirt, and the title says Happy New Year 2021, Nurse Crew, Santa's favorite nurse. So they have taken advantage of their keywords here, even go so far as to keyword stuff, because it says Santa's favorite nurse nowhere on that shirt. It says Nurse Crew nowhere on that shirt, but they have used those keywords to get ranked, I guess. So I like the design in general. It's got really readable font and readable graphics. It's very obvious what it is here. So that to me is a good design. I know some of you asked me if I would do a video about how I design, but I'm not a graphic designer and I don't feel like my design skills are that strong. So it's kind of hard for me to want to make a video when I don't have a lot to showcase. We're really seeing a lot of these firework designs, so I would kind of look into that. I know that, those graphics are probably pretty easy to come by. They look relatively simple, so let's type in New Year's resolution and see if we can get anything. Okay, so the next search term that I'm using is New Year's resolution. So obviously a resolution is something that we want to do better in next year. For instance, my New Year's resolution is to keep getting healthier and to drink less and to complain less. So that could be a resolution. So we're going to type this in, and this first one that popped up says rents due. And obviously they're not talking about literal rent. They're talking about, work that you have to put in. And I think that that's a pretty cool phrase. So I'm going to go over and type that in. So rents due pops up over 1,000 results, and this one is $15, and the sales rank is 660,000. So it's selling pretty well. Not super, super good, but pretty well. And this one over here is $14.99, and it is selling even better at 436,000 for a rank. And obviously you can see very, very simple designs here, nothing crazy, but what probably helped them is just being first to market. That's something that I preach on this channel quite a bit, is to be the first to get somewhere is a lot easier to rank. So go ahead and get the design up even if you don't see anything. This one is a rent stew with some kind of flag. I can't really see that. I'm gonna have to click on it to dive in a little deeper. It looks like a backwards American flag. I don't really know what that means, so if you guys know what that means, please leave that in the comments below. Is that some kind of symbol that I'm not aware of? Keeping up with what's current events in today's society is actually proving to be pretty difficult. But anyways, rent stew, I think that's the one that popped up for us on Merch Informer, but that one's selling pretty well as well. And one thing that you could do is, I don't see very many feminine ones. It looks like a more of a masculine ones. So, I mean, there's a V-neck that hasn't sold yet, because if it says bestseller rank not applicable in A, that means that it hasn't sold yet. But yeah, the rent stew tank top with the weird backwards flag thing obviously means something I'm not aware of. That one has sold. Here's a V-neck that is sold. Unfortunately, got a 1-star review, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, rent stew is another phrase that I would probably cash in on. Now, I did type in New Year's resolution shirt on another page, and I popped up a couple of different t-shirts that were merch shirts. This one says my New Year's resolution is to be a unicorn. 3 million ranks, so not something that is going to be super, super good. I don't know what this thing is. It's triathlon. Okay, so it's 140.6, and it says 2021. So this is for people who plan to run a triathlon in 2021. So that is interesting to me. Logically, that would lead me to the triathlon niche and to just kind of dive into that and see what kind of triathlon words I could come up with. New Year, same hot mess. So this is kind of a good one because this could be used over and over again, and it probably is something that could be relevant for a while. Let's see when it got uploaded. It actually got uploaded December 12th of 2019. So this was uploaded last year, which also kind of explains why it's ranking so well. The earlier we can get something up, the better. Here's that one that we saw earlier about the birthday thing. I'm just out of curiosity going to look at when it was added. It was added on November 24th, 2018. So this was added in 2018. So that is a pretty old and established design. Bling in the new year. I never heard of this phrase before, but I mean, obviously I don't see why not. Another rent stew. So that's one that is going to continue to pop up. And we've got New Year's resolution, lift more. That one is sponsored. So yeah, I don't want to make this video super, super long, but hopefully you got something out of it. Research is the most important part of Merch by Amazon, and I think that it can really, really help you save time if you don't make designs that are in overly competitive niches and you don't make designs that are just not selling at all. I think there's a sweet spot to it, but hopefully this was somewhat helpful. You can always just use Amazon. You don't have to use Merch Informer. It's just a tool that I use. And if you want to get 20% off of Merch Informer, you can actually just use my code HELLABELLA. I'll put a link to it in the description below because it's something that I use quite often. They have all these little tools on the side here. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully you liked it. And yeah, take care until the next one.